Jonah Jackson is somebody that kind of ties back to what we were talking about, is a player that you might have to just be okay with letting walk. And you're seeing some guards re-sign today. Actually, the Rams, a shout out to you, ETN, by the way, their starting right guard, Kevin Dotson, just re-signed. And for people that don't know Kevin Dotson, he is a really good guard. He's the top guard in the league. I mean, he was if you want to rely on PFF, he was the second highest graded guard behind Chris Lindstrom, right behind him. Kevin Dotson was. And he just re-signed with the Rams, kind of getting a picture of what Jonah Jackson's contract would kind of look like. He re-signed to the Rams for 3 years for $48 million. So, I mean, 3 for 48 for Kevin Dotson. Like, guys, I think we're getting to the point where it's like, I don't know what Jonah, this is Jonah's first payday. He's walking. I think I could see a Commanders reaching out and being like, hey, Jonah, come over here. We'll pay you 15 per. I don't see how Jonah stays, even if he asks for a little bit of a discount. I just think you could put that money elsewhere, to be honest, and go draft another guard.
Yeah.
15 seems like a lot, Jeff. And this tweet real quick. I'm just gonna read this off real quick because so the guy we talking about, he got 3 years. How much? What was the price?
It was 3 for 48, so about 16.
So 48. So earlier as well, Jaguars guard Ezra Cleveland signed for 3 years, $28 million with 14 guaranteed. Justin Rogers tweeted this out. He said PFF had predicted 3 years, $24 million for Ezra Cleveland, which basically they were $4 million off. So it was 24 to 28. He tweeted out and said that PFF also has Jonah Jackson projected at 3 years, a little over $30 million. So they were a little spot on with that, and same with Spotrac and Over the Cap. When they kind of project these, they're a little bit spot on because it's like the average of what it is now. So to your point, like the 15 million, I feel like that's pretty high. If you can get Jonah, which if they're projecting 3 years, 30 million, about 10 million, 11 million a year, are you guys saying no to that? Like, I'm not letting him walk at that price. That's like a little bit of a discount, but that's like to that point, like Ezra Cleveland signed that today. I get the other contract, but if they have that projection, these projections are pretty close, typically 4 to 5 million, like a couple million off maybe over the span of 3 years. So what, 12 million? Like, I'm paying him 12 million to come back. I don't know about you guys. I don't really care about the injuries or anything, to keep that line together.
Yeah, the price of guards is just like, obviously you've seen it's gone up today. And I was all for keeping the offensive line together, but now like the more I see it, I don't know if Brad's willing to pay that price tag when he could also just kind of build through the draft, maybe sign someone for cheaper. I was kind of all for it, like I said, but now that you're kind of seeing more guys and like I said, that price tag go up, I'm kind of seeing Jonah's time here come to an end, in my opinion. But like you said, 9 to 10 million. I don't think I would hate that by any means, but I just feel like he could probably get more somewhere else. I don't know if I'm wrong there.
No, if he gets paid a bag, go ahead, do it.
No, I mean, if you bring him back for $12 million, I would happily take that. But Ezra Cleveland, he got traded from Minnesota to Jacksonville, and then he took he's a solid guard. But how much was his annual salary again, Booner? Just so I'm not going off base here.
Hold on. So it said his projection was 3 years 24, and he got 3 years 28.
So it'll be what? That's how much is 3 years? So it's a little under like 8-9 million around there. So if he's getting that, I'm
9.5.
If he's getting that, I don't see any way that Jonah's going to accept anything under like 13. Because Ezra Cleveland, like he had his first really solid season this year. Jonah Jackson's been a Pro Bowler. He's been a part of this culture. Like he has a lot more leverage than Ezra Cleveland does. And the Lions don't need Jonah Jackson like the Jaguars need Ezra Cleveland because they don't have a tackle. They don't have a Penei Sewell. They don't have a Frank Ragnow. Like that is their offensive lineman. Cam Robinson was supposed to be nice for him, but I think he either got suspended or hurt, one of the two. But I just think it's a different situation. I'm not going to outrule it and say, Booner, like the Spotrac thing's incorrect because obviously they hit on it, but I just don't think that Jonah would take a 3 year, $10 million deal. Or 3 year, $30 million deal.
Do you guys not think like the injury situation has anything like some teams he might not be as valuable as we think because some teams will kind of come back with that? Hey, you've missed some games. There's been these injury situations.
I mean, you can, but then there's teams that need him. You know what I mean? Like there's teams that have no offensive line help that have money to spend that would be like, all right, yeah, you're hurt for some games, but you're better than our backup left guard that we've been trotting out there and just having a replacing door with for the last 3 seasons. Let's get Jonah Jackson, and the guard that we've been developing, he can develop behind Jonah, and then when Jonah's hurt, we play him there. There's going to be a team willing to offer Jonah a bag.
I will say this, I'm not trying to pay him that much money. Yeah, I'm not trying to pay him that much money. Like Alan in the chat just put, hopefully Jonah is not declining with injury situations. If say the Lions do pay him a little bit of a bag, like a 13 million, 12 million, and that decline is happening right now, that's a tough spot when you're trying to build a Super Bowl roster. That's a tough contract to have on the books. I
think that's a real possibility because I say it with Levi all the time, and I think it applies to every lineman out there outside of like the just freak of natures who have the genetics to just heal properly. If you're an offensive lineman, especially a guard who's pulling all the time, having lower body, especially knee injuries, those aren't going away. They might be healed from what they were, but at some point they are going to reoccur. There's too much weight that they carry around that they're moving in angles and they're getting pushed back by bigger defensive ends. They're falling into players. Players are falling into them. Injuries are going to happen. And once they happen, they don't go away, especially for linemen.
Yeah. I mean, Jonah, to me, guys, I'm cool. He could leave. I'm cool. Yeah. Because I don't think to Booner's scenario, I don't think that is a scenario, to be honest with you. I mean, he's 27 years old. He's made the Pro Bowl. He just had a kid. He wants to get paid. And I support that. Go get your bag, Jonah. Like, I'm cool. I'm never going to knock a man for trying to get his money, especially for his family. Like, I have no problem with that. I just don't think it'll be with the Detroit Lions. Like, good riddance. But to be honest, you're not paying a guard, a Jonah, and I would think projected. I mean, you look at the AAVs of some guards in the league. Quentin Nelson, his AAV is $20 million, just to kind of give you a scale. Zach
Martin, does AAV mean?
Average annual value. Okay. So it's basically overall money divided by years. It's just kind of how it just give you an idea here. So Quentin's at 20, Lindstrom's at a little over 20, Martin's at 18. You go down a little bit. Joe Thuney is at 16. Joe Batonio's at 16. Wyatt Teller's at 14. Shaq Mason's at 12. Like if I'm and I'm just kind of going through some names. Like if I'm Jonah, I'm asking for between 12 to 14, and I'm cool. Like I'm not paying Jonah that. So and go join the Commanders. They're going to want him. The only way I see this happening, and I'll say this as like a little, just because I don't think he'll resign. But if he does, it'll be Jonah, and I'd be surprised. But it'd be Jonah being like, you know what, we're close. We're in the Super Bowl chase. I want to stay here for under 10 million. Like I'm cool with it. Then yeah. Like to Booner's point, then I'm open to it. I just don't think it'll happen. I don't think it should happen. If I'm Jonah, I want to get paid.
I'm 100% with you on that. And there might be, we don't know. And I'm with you again. He probably wants to get paid. There are guys on this team. Like, do you think if we weren't in this little Super Bowl run era, Frank Ragnow doesn't retire? Like that, we had that conversation a couple weeks ago. Like there's going to be some people, and like these offensive linemen are going to have conversations. Jared Goff's going to talk to the O-line. He's going to probably speak with Jonah. They're going to all like, hey guys, we're like right there. Like we can go win the Lombardi next year. And if a sacrifice of $3 million is what Jonah has to make to do that, then I'm with you, Jeff. Like if he takes 9, like go ahead, let's do that. It's a $3 million difference from 12. I'm in on that. So, but again, go get your money. But there is a guy potentially in the 3rd round out of Kansas State, name's Cooper Beebe, and according to my records and my scouting, that might be a guy that can play right away. That might be a guy that can step in right away, named Cooper Beebe, who goes out there and he will take down multiple guys at one time. Oh, love it. Give me Cooper Beebe. Home. Well, if you don't sign Jonah, go get me Cooper Beebe. As Spenny says, baby.
I mean, think about what Amon-Ra St. Brown made. Let's just go with like if you actually draft a guard. This isn't Jackson Powers Johnson, but if you draft a guard in the 3rd, 4th round, like you talk about those 4th round contracts, you're probably going to sign around a $4-5 million contract for 4 years. Like, guys, would I rather have a starting guard for that? And I could allocate that money to, I don't know, Penei Sewell coming up, Aiden coming down the pipeline, re-signing Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, you got guys you got to pay, or do you want to invest in a guard? Like, again, Jonah's a fine player, but he didn't have a great year. He actually had a bad year, to be honest. He wasn't healthy, and when he was healthy, he didn't look good in pass protection. I know Jeremy talked about that when he was on the show, too. So
I think Graham played better at guard than he did.
He did. He absolutely did. Like, I would re-sign Graham if you're going to pay
Graham in his spot. Yeah.
So that's just where I'm at. I'd rather draft a guard. If they go after Jackson Powers Johnson, I'm all on board. But if they don't, I'd rather, to Booner's point about a Cooper Beebe, whoever it is, go draft a guard, slot him right in there. I mean, guys, you have Taylor Decker, who's coming up, by the way, next year. He's coming up soon. So there's another guy you're going to have to pay. They have Taylor Decker, Frank Ragnow, Panay, and Graham. If they re-sign him, it's a pretty good offensive line. Like, you're just going to start at guard and be like, just don't crash the ship. Like, you'll be all right. I know there's other guys like a Coyote who didn't look great, but I'm assuming their pick will be better than him. I'm assuming.
That's a position in free agency that you can go get a guy for a 1 year, 2 year deal for $7, $8, $9, $10 million, and you're getting equal value to how Jonah played this year, and you're not committing to anything long term. And those players want to win now. There's no development with that. Like, I saw someone pop it up in the chat earlier. Like, you go get a Dalton Reisner who was playing in Denver. Like, that's a perfect guy.
Yep.
You guys, I don't think people realize this though. Big V is gone. So even if you do bring Graham back, or say whatever happens in that, like, you still have to fill another guard spot outside of Jonah Jackson. Like, you're potentially now losing Jonah and Big V. So, and Graham is a free agent. So if you you have to bring Graham back, in my opinion, especially if you don't bring Jonah back, and you still, no matter what, you have to go out and probably, in my opinion, I'm kind of Lucas. I would rather go get a veteran guard, someone who will take $7-8 million, just so you at least have someone that could play that position right away, and maybe still draft a Cooper Beebe. And if he's not like ready instantly, or even if he is ready, all right, now you have a battle at guard between whoever the vet that you bring in, Graham Glasgow and Cooper Beebe, and now you have depth. Because remember last year, Graham came in and didn't even start right away. He was kind of that, like, I'll fill in at center, I'll fill in here, and especially with Frank, kind of the injury, I would rather have maybe a rookie like a Cooper Beebe and a vet free agent, just in case, like, hey, if Frank needs to take a week off, throw Graham there and you have two guards still that you can play. So I think it's actually more that we like break this down and talk about it. That guard position might be more of a need than we actually realize it is, because you have two guard spots that will be open this year. Like that, and
I'd be
this
shocked
is
if they didn't take one in the draft. Sorry to cut you off.
early too. Like I would like Jackson Powers Johnson might be way more in play than we think. Now that we talk about this, like way more in play.
Yeah,